I have something to tell you.
I know what it's going to be, and I was waiting for this.
You don't know what it's going to be.
What is it?
Tell me what you think it's going to be.
I think it was going to be a general apology, acknowledgments of my talent, my generosity, my looks, my height. Long time coming.
What do you want me to acknowledge?
Just that it's different.
Oh, there you are.
Yep. Yeah, that would be nice. That's a start.
A height acknowledgement.
But what do you have? What do you have? What do you have?
Tom Brady revealed that his current dog, Junie, is a clone of his late dog, Lua,
This is what I'm talking about. So
who died in December 2023.
there are human clones.
Well, we've talked about this.
Yes, but this is convincing me further. So I'm like, if dog technology has gotten this far,
Well, we've got dog consumer tech, but we don't have human consumer tech.
we don't have human consumer
You're
tech.
saying China does.
Well, I'm not saying China does. I'm saying the Chinese do.
Well, how do you think they got so many people?
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Come in.
I do want to say, for the record, I think cloning your dog is fucking weird. It's not the same.
It's this, but it's a clone.
But it's not. It's a clone.
Yeah.
But it's not your dog. It's a
Well,
clone
it
of
is
your
his
dog.
dog.
Don't be pedantic. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, my neurodivergence sometimes makes me act pedantic. but
And this is me policing that. Hello,
it's true.
everyone.
The boundaries of my neurodivergence are being delineated by another in a long line of cruel women. My name is Brace.
And I'm producer Young Chomsky.
And this is TrueAnon. Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the last episode,
The final one.
y'all. Welcome to the last episode, y'all. Well, y'all, folks, welcome to the last.
Wait, why do you say that?
Because we are changing the name to the Brace Belden Show featuring Liz.
You wish.
And then also whatever producer we hire.
Oh.
I hire. Because
Wow.
I have. And whichever Liz I hire.
You go on one stream and look at you.
Whatever Liz I hire, too. No, I just think that, yeah. My ChatGPT has been telling me.
I have something here for you.
You do have something here for us.
Which was for people who can't, for all of our blind listeners, who we should say hello to.
Hello.
They can't hear us.
No, they can't?
They can hear us
blind.
even better,
Yeah.
like Daredevil.
This is our 500th episode. Episode 500. And I have here from a listener who made this for us and then gave it to us at the live show we just did. This is called 100 Rules and Tips Collected from 500 Episodes of TrueAnon.
Wow.
And this little hand-printed thing that I'm handing the boys for the first time. They haven't seen this.
Threw it at me, but
So chill out.
I'm chill. I'm so excited in a chill way.
There are a lot of the rules, TrueAnon rules in here that I remember, and then other tips that I don't, and it is so cute. Number one is be cool,
That's true.
which is obviously, makes the most sense. But there's also, the fan favorites, never release political prisoners to placate the protesters.
Mm-hmm.
Always pay your mercenaries.
You can pronounce a name any way you want. Well, they forgot to add in parentheses, it's a subjective noun.
Always get it in writing. And then, of course, never put it in writing.
Never put it in writing.
Never put it in writing.
yourself.
There's so many. Always check the medicine cabinets. That's one of Brace's.
But that's one of my rules, but that's universal. Because it doesn't mean you have to steal the medicine. It just means you should look at what you're working with.
When someone asks you a question that you don't want to answer, you can just say, it's for legal reasons, or I signed an NDA. And then NDAs are fake.
Yeah. Yes. Let me see here. Not never go to a second location, because actually I think that let's not get hasty with that advice there. But go to a second location, but bring your gun to it and then kill the person no matter what happens. What else do we have here?
If someone always has a new hat, they've got something to hide. That's new to me, but
I
I'm
don't know if I've
fascinated.
heard that either. Yeah,
like
did we
that
say this
one.
in this?
People are always giving us hats, so I kind of always have a new hat.
If you're funny, you can say anything.
Don't
That's
ever
true.
host a party.
They let you do it.
What else do we got here?
If you're pushing through a land reform program on behalf of the peasantry, do it really quickly and without telling anyone first,
Yeah,
which I
that's
do
true.
think is
Just
very
push
good
it through.
advice.
Yeah,
just push
that's
this
true.
through.
Everyone knows that.
Always secure the water rights. That
Yep.
is one that I think a lot of us are really, upset. Only a handful of us could secure the water
I
rights.
have full water rights on my apartment,
Good.
on the building. I can shut it off at
You
any
need to
time.
secure your building's
I got
water
it. I
rights.
did immediately. You want your situation to be precedented. That's true.
If you're involved in any kind of arrangement with multiple Mauricios, it's going to turn out badly.
I
for
do
you.
remember that one.
I
yeah,
do
that
feel
is
like
true.
that is
yeah, no,
true.
That's
That if
rings a
there's-
vague
as
bell.
they might say
I think
facts.
it's also, 2 Mauritios is like, I'm raising an eyebrow. 3 Mauritios and I'm turning around.
Yeah.
I'm running out of there.
Don't let your gains be reversed. That's pretty good advice right
I
there.
agree with that.
If Congress calls you to testify, you don't have to go.
Okay.
I do think that's true.
Never lock yourself in something.
Mm.
That's also true. Huh. These are pretty good tips.
These are. I love never let a woman see you play a video game. I think is still one of the best pieces of advice we could ever
And
give.
people, I guarantee there's so many people out there being like, but I know she saw you play it, and I know she said that's fine. It's not. It's not. Women say things like that all the time.
I was just about to say, you know what? Let's add 101. Women say things.
Women, Liz, you don't want to go down that road with advice.
Why?
Women say things
But it's also
that
women
aren't.
say things.
Women say things.
No, period.
Women, because people say women be shopping. Oftentimes, women be talking too, and you can't stop a woman from talking.
Nor should you.
Well, no, you shouldn't. You should hear them out, but you don't have to listen.
Actually, you should, like they are right now, as I'm speaking.
No, I'm singing songs in my head.
I'm not talking
I do
about
that
you.
when anyone else is speaking, though. So
Never invest in anything that has a name that has to do with the moon.
Seems safe.
I think that seems like a safe bet. Anyway, I think that this little pamphlet is so sweet and cute. And it really made me happy. And
This
so
is
I
nice.
wanted to share it with everyone and with you guys. But hello, this is our 500th episode.
this is our 500th episode.
It is episode 500.
It is episode 500.
Yeah.
It is, and I have to say this, not our 500th episode. And there is a distinction there. Because due to certain neurological aspects of some of our listeners, we have to number our episodes so they go crazy. However, some of our episodes are not numbered.
Yeah, because they were like special things.
Yeah,
They're outside the numbering system.
yeah. Maybe these are the special ones. And those are the
Okay,
normal
that's
ones.
fine. But I'm just saying there's ones outside the numbering system.
There's ones outside the numbering system, but those are still episodes.
In a way.
In the way that things are, but they're not episode number. You know what I'm saying?
Episode 500.
Episode 500.
It's only appropriate that we go back to the start, back to where it all started.
We are in Young Chomsky's studio apartment. Hello, we are talking about the one and only, you know him, you love him, you possibly helped him, Jeffrey Epstein.
I know. There's more. There's always more.
There's actually kind of a lot more.
There is.
Including a massive tranche that I've been trying to work through in like just my spare time in the past couple of weeks.
Of the emails?
Of the emails and the schedule. Yes, emails.
But as emails.
The schedules. There's so much leakage
Yeah.
going on here. I feel like I'm at a damn.
Adult daycare.
Wow.
Come on,
I thought that's where you're going.
that's not where. No, at a fucking. What do you? No, at like
What
like
is
an
this,
old
Joe
apartment building
Biden's
where they didn't take care of the
underpass?
pipes.
Okay.
There's a lot of leaking going on. We're practically
Well, it's not just
incontinent.
leaking. It's that Congress is also putting out a bunch of
yeah.
tranches.
Well, yeah,
of documents.
there's simultaneous things happening. There's the leakage, which could be solved with one thing, which I shan't mention, or there is the stuff that Congress is putting out in the House Oversight Committee.
Yeah.
To start with that, do you guys remember when the birthday book came out?
Obviously.
Of course.
Unfortunately, something happened a couple days later, which we're still recovering from, which is Charlie Kirk was hurt. quite badly into
Mortally.
death. Yeah, mortally hurt.
Unalived.
Yeah, and perished to forever, leaving his wife to mourn.
And also possibly get some.
That's part of the mourning process.
I want to pause here because we do need to comment on it. We were talking about it. The Lady Kirk,
Erica Kirk.
Erica Kirk,
Erica Kirk.
the Lady Kirk, and Mr. Vance. We are both obviously
Dick Vance.
we are both obviously licensed, registered body language experts available for hire.
I'm unlicensed, but I'm working on it still.
Sure. It's kind of it's tough part-time getting an appointment also.
Yeah.
Especially with the government shutdown. What do you make of these two?
I don't want to use terminology that is sort of memeified now, or like, there's a lot of things that are sort of borrowed, I guess, from like incel shit or like 4chan stuff that have kind of just become like words that people
Sure.
use. One of those words, though, I feel
Widow
is
maxing.
apropos.
Oh, okay.
And that word is looks matched, right?
You think their looks matched?
Who would you say looks better than the other one?
I was going to say her.
You think? No. But that's so nice of you to say. You think Erica Kirk is significantly better?
No.
Beyond the margin of error, better looking than JD Vance?
First of all, no one said significant, and significant is very different than
Statistically
above the margin of
significant,
error.
Liz. Do you think she's statistically hotter than JD
No,
Vance?
I just really, he's so repulsive to me that it's like really tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I can.
I think that the beard, much like many people who care about looks maxing, the beard is doing so much work for Vance. Shave that thing off. No one wants to see what's going on under there.
It's so round.
if
He'll zemp before midterms again.
Yeah, he will. He'll do a cycle. I will say, I don't want to read too much into anything, but
She's tough too.
she's a beautiful-ish woman. She's blonde.
Yeah.
The rest of it's a little tough, but that's not my business. Her putting her hand on the back of his head, I think, is what a lot of people were like, interesting. I've hugged probably 10,000 women, oftentimes inappropriately in my life. And none of them have ever just been like,
I do
put
think
your-
that
put your little palm on the
it's
melon.
not typically American. I will say internationally, much more touchy-feely.
like Indonesians do that.
No, I think just like in general, you got the like kissing on the side of the face.
Oh, yeah,
You're
yeah.
like maybe a little more touchy-feely.
Yeah.
That's just like very more like culturally accepted.
With the Monsignor, yeah.
In America, not so much. I'm less about the hand on the head than I am just about the general energy.
Oh, you think you feel like the electricity between them?
I mean, I do think there's chemistry. I do think we're talking chemistry.
I
here.
do too. I think we are.
Is it Pacey Joey season 3? No, it is not. However, I do think I could see you're on the road, you're on tour, whatever they're fucking doing. I don't know what they're doing. They're always like speaking together.
Yeah,
and
I
shit.
don't know.
You have late night drinks at the Hilton lobby bar, commiserating. There's a connection. I feel a connection between the two, but I'm not confident in saying that it has been consummated.
I will say, to add to that, I don't detect, and it hurts me to say this, I don't detect a lot of sexual chemistry between JD Vance and his beautiful subcontinental wife.
It's crazy that JD Vance is so online that he thinks that Americans give a fuck that his wife is.
Hindu?
Yes.
Well, it's because he has to deal, or like, I don't even
He's
think
like,
she's definitely not religious.
Vance,
She is.
get offline.
Well, I think he
No
was
one gives
asked.
a fuck
I think he
about
was
the
asked
Groypers.
about it, but by a Groyper when he was doing a TPUSA event, which I believe actually maybe is when this hug was from.
That is such a like made your own bed situation.
I know.
Just
I know.
that entire
I know.
sentence.
Yeah, and so it's if you're JD Vance,
JD.
I see you with Usha. And I don't see that. There is something electric about seeing JD and Erica embrace like that. And yeah, they might not have yet had sex, made love.
Jesus.
But I have looked at, and oftentimes with great emotion, I have looked at a lot of pictures of JD with Usha. And, you know, you can generally tell when like a female is vibing with it. And that's one of my rules. You can generally tell when a female is vibing with it. And I can't, you know, I don't detect that from her. I think there's a closed offness. I wouldn't be surprised if they hadn't had sex in 2 or 3 years. And there's something in him, you know? There's something in him that needs to get out. And he needs to get it. The baby that he had with Erica Kirk would be, first of all, let's be honest, probably
Antichrist.
40 pounds when it was born. Just because of I'm not saying anything about anybody's weight or anything here. I'm just saying that baby, you know this.
They do seem like big boned people.
They're large people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're I'm not even saying, you know,
yeah.
but there's something in them that needs to get out.
Corn fed.
Yeah, it's beyond that though. It's like milk, too much milk. You know what I mean? Or they're like, because you guys know, y'all know I was breastfed till 15, but it was non-incestual. But these, like them, that was like too much calcium or something.
Thick
you know,
skulls.
they have deposits within them, and I detect something there, and they seem right together. And you know, when he walked on that stage, he saw Usha, and he saw his own hand. Oh, I can't control it, reaching down to grab her fucking waist. And he saw.
I also think they're both like such craven opportunists and so like careerist that they see a potential like fruitful partnership that goes beyond like, you know, the
Yeah.
sensual.
I do think that,
And I think that like, oh, you know, up late at night, you know, talking like strategy after ba-da-da-da-da. You know, you can see it. I can see it, all of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that they
And them
both
both,
know
like,
it
getting off on
couldn't
that.
work now
Yeah.
because of the optics.
And it's forbidden.
It's forbidden, which does, of course, the forbidden fruit. Obviously, the most delicious, but also the most scary.
Yes.
I think that
Would
they
Charlie
know.
approve, etc.? Is he
Well-
looking down? Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, is he looking down from heaven, where he gets?
No,
to
but I know they believe that he's looking down on heaven. But how does he feel looking down on heaven at what's happening?
He's cheating in heaven because it's okay, because it's not cheating.
Yeah.
The rules are different there.
I wonder what's up there.
I've thought a lot about it, and Charlie, first of all, but probably everybody that's
Do you
ever.
have sex in heaven?
Do I?
Just one.
Well, I don't know. It depends. If you had a lot of sex on earth, you get to have a lot of cool sex with beautiful women or men in heaven.
That feels
However,
more Islamic coded to me than Christian.
if you didn't, well, no, you're thinking, yeah, but it's if you didn't have sex on earth, like they're not going to let a 5-year-old that died, R.I.P., go to heaven and fuck. You know what I mean?
Well, 'cause-
God's like, you're not ready for that, and you'll never be ready.
yeah.
You know? Like if you died too young or you died too ugly to have sex on earth, they don't let you do it.
What
in
if you're
heaven.
like on cut? What if you're cusped?
Like you just started having sex and then you got scared and died?
Or what if you're like 16 and you're like, damn, I died before I could have sex.
That-
and then you go to heaven.
And God, St. Peter's like, that's tough, man.
But rules are rules.
Rules are rules.
So
Rules are rules. You know who didn't obey? Satan.
That's
Do you
why
wanna
never
go
kill
there?
yourself.
Yeah. Well, no. Or kill yourself when you've had a lot of sex.
No.
You know, well, don't, not our listeners to do that. But
Let's talk about.
let's talk about something more pleasant. Jeffrey Epstein. The birthday book came out,
I'm
and
always
Charlie
saying
Kirk.
something more pleasant. Jeffrey Epstein.
The birthday book came out. It was big news. We put on a 3.5 hours of an episode on it, and then 2 days later, that doesn't matter. Charlie Kirk died. Charlie Kirk perished. And now it was funny because I feel like there was kind of a groundswell of like people getting pissed off at Trump, and then it just totally just washed away by the blood of Charlie. But there was also a bunch of tranches released, particularly on October 17th, when the House Oversight Committee released a bunch of Epstein's flight logs, including some we hadn't seen before,
Yeah.
which I haven't finished going through yet, and then a bunch of schedules, which did have some kind of new stuff, which we'll get to actually later on in the
Yeah.
episode. Trump is actually still suing. I checked this. Trump is still suing the Wall Street Journal / Rupert Murdoch for claims about the birthday book.
Yeah, saying it's
but like
fake.
it is real. Obviously, we knew it was real the entire time, but it is funny to still be suing them. They filed for dismissal, and I feel like it
I'm
probably
sure.
will be dismissed.
Trump just sues everyone,
yeah.
which we'll talk about.
But it's interesting because the two sort of major pieces of fallout, the two major fallouts from the birthday book have both involved our little brothers from across the pond, the Brits. So in that birthday book, at the time, UK ambassador to the United States, I mean, we talked about his contributions to the book, but he says, I think this is an important part of it, wherever he is in the world, he remains my best pal, about Jeffrey Epstein in the birthday book signed to him. It's a bunch of weird pictures. It's very clear they were very close. And we've known they've been close for a long time.
Yes.
This isn't news to anybody. But it's sort of been downplayed quite a bit by Mr. Mandelson. And it was a really crazy pick to have him as the U.S. ambassador. And remember, like the night Virginia Jeffrey died, one of the people who was given the birthday book, House and Habit, a mommy blogger extraordinaire. I don't mean it. I'm just kidding. But the mommy blogger extraordinaire who just today actually released a live string about Virginia Jeffrey with Jay in Kiev, who threatened to sue me after I wrote that he interviewed a neo-Nazi for the Kiev Post a few years ago.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
No.
Jay Beecher. I think he's an insane
Oh,
guy.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Also, we did a whole episode about all of these people when.
Then that happened.
Yeah.
But Mandelson has so far mostly escaped trouble, except after this birthday book came out. So on the 10th, the day after the birthday book came out, Keir Starmer defends Mandelson on the floor of Parliament. He says,
Let me start by saying that the victims of Epstein are at the forefront of our minds. He was a despicable criminal who committed the most heinous crimes and destroyed the lives of so many women and girls. The ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret for his association with Epstein, and he has right to do so. I have confidence in him, and he is playing an important role in the UK-US relationship. Oh, Sir Keir.
Sir Keir, hoisted by his own petard yet again, because the day after that, I think it was just one day later, on I believe it came out on September 11th, Jason Leopold and a bunch of other writers at Bloomberg who have access to Epstein's Yahoo email inbox published a giant article about Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein's correspondence.
Yeah.
So this is from an email Mandelson wrote to Epstein the day before Epstein went to jail in 2008. I think the world of you, and I feel hopeless and furious about what has happened. I can still barely understand it. It just could not happen in Britain.
You know what? Fact check. True.
True.
It's true.
That really is giving the game away. That could not happen in Britain.
No, they don't send people like that to jail in Britain.
This is from the...
But if you talk about it, they will send you to jail.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. If you post about it, you'll go to jail. But if you just are a pedophile, I think you're fine. Yeah. This is from the article.
In one cryptic exchange, Epstein referred to an upcoming meeting between his lawyer and somebody he called Mr. Big and told Mandelson, I need your guy to remind him one time before the meeting. Then we are done. Mandelson replied, I will get a message. He is traveling at the moment. Neither Mr. Big nor your guy are named. First of all, who knew that he was friends with Chris Noth?
I was about to say, Mr. Big.
But this is not the only kind of like shady coded language that we'll find in some of these emails, but this one's really good.
It is so funny that they're using this code here. So, well, there's also another email that I thought was kind of amazing. Very TrueAnon rules style.
Reminder, you're fighting back, so you need strategy, strategy, strategy. Remember, the art of war.
I want everybody out there. Art of War is a very short book.
Let's debunk the art of war here.
No, I don't want to debunk it. I want to say a great idea, and I'm sure this has been done 500,000 times, is to just take all of the lessons from the Art of War, which are actually lessons like, if you're fighting back, you need strategy.
Yeah.
You really should apply this to your own life in every situation you get into. right?
Yeah.
Always be like your your benose ringed roommate has left her moldy tea bags piling up in the sink. They are sticking to the sides. Every time you tear one, they rip
There's tea everywhere.
tea everywhere, but it stinks because they've just been soaking in this disgusting water for a while. Before confronting her, read The Art of War and pick the most applicable one and just keep that at the forefront of your mind at all times.
Yeah.
Bloomberg further reports that Mr. Big meets with Jay Lefkowitz, a former Bush official who is also one of Epstein's defense attorneys. Bloomberg, straight up, I don't know. I mean, they're kind of a little like they're playing footsie with this a little bit.
Well,
but
they got to be straight. They're journalists.
They seem to kind of imply that Mr. Big could be George W. Bush in one of these, who Lefkowitz meets.
I feel like George W. Bush being codenamed Mr. Big is like, that is the millennial brain cannot process that.
No. Well, I think only the millennial brain can process that because that is so within a millennial wheelhouse,
I
right?
know, but it's like two opposing things. It's
Yeah.
like he can't be.
I don't know if he actually is. I assume it's probably just some like other guy. What if it's
Mr.
Cheney?
Big.
What if it's Cheney?
R.I.P.
I mean, this is sort of an example of like what they're writing about here.
Another cryptic email came from that June. As British Prime Minister Gordon Brown, wow, that's a throwback, by the way. I forgot about Gordon Brown. As British Prime Minister Gordon Brown prepared to meet Bush in Washington, Epstein messaged Mandelson, quote, "Your boy is meeting tomorrow with B. If he gets a chance, he could remind Josh Bolton. Josh Bolton was Bush's chief of staff at the time."
Well, this is maddening because there's actually two very powerful Mr. B's.
Mr. B.
In fact, they have the same. Gordon Brown and George Bush have the same initials. I guess it was GWB. But I kind of wonder. I'm like, who
I feel like
is
your boy would be
Brown
to
Yeah.
Mandelson.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, your boy is probably both in
It's
the Labor
so
Party.
weird to call George W. Bush B and not W.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Well, he's speaking in code here. Remember? He's got to keep it.
I know, but I
coded.
guess.
If it was W, it would be too obvious that it was George W. Bush. If he just calls him B, it could be anybody.
Right.
Well, it's certainly not Josh Bolton because he said his full name. So it is interesting because it does show a sort of full court press behind the scenes, which has so far been unreported. I mean, these are pretty, kind of crazy revelations. That there was like the highest profile working on getting Epstein some kind of deal here. So the article further goes on to show that Mandelson and Jess Staley, introduced at Epstein's pleasure, were working on some banking deals in the Republic of Congo, which I would love to know more
I
about.
would really love to know more about that.
And the day after the article comes out, Mandelson is out.
And I gotta say, I'm almost surprised.
I kind of am too, because I'm like, if you're in for a penny, in for a pound, right?
And also, I will say it does feel so rare these days that an article comes out that is like, that actually, politicians respond to and have to kind of like, either step down or apologize for something or actually care about. It's like, I'm so used to everything being swept under the rug. It's like, damn, that was so crazy. And then everyone just kind of moving on, that it is kind of odd to see it occur.
It's interesting. I'm kind of like wondering, has anything ever gone right for Keir Starmer? Like, since he took office?
Well, define going right, because I do think he has gone right.
Yes. Has anything happened for Keir Starmer's administration that is good for them? Like, I feel like it's really just like, because there was that whole, like, every single Tory prime minister just did worse than the one before them, and like for shorter and shorter tenures, lower and lower approval ratings until finally there was like they switched to Labor.
Yeah.
But like that cycle didn't end, and that like cycle of like just being a shitty, horrible prime minister just continued with Labor.
Yes. Until we finally,
Farage will fix it.
we'll get Nigel in there to clean up the mess.
But it really is just another fucking embarrassment for that piece of shit Keir Starmer. So bye-bye, Mr. Mandelson.
So you mentioned that, Trump was still suing the Wall Street Journal. And it's funny because before we kind of move on with the other Epstein email revelations, there's another lawsuit that I just want to bring up because it's so funny, is that it's not just, Trump has been like, that's just his whole thing. He just sues everybody, and he's like, I'm literally going to sue you for $1 billion. I'm going to sue you for $10 million. I'm going to sue just to scare people, right? But it's not just him that's been suing everyone, like also Melania. So there have been several suits filed after various people have alleged there were links between Epstein and Melania. Subtext there is that he was somehow related to bringing her to the U.S., perhaps some modeling.
Perhaps a certain introduction.
By
the way, we want to be clear that we have never alleged any of these things, and we actually think that they're racist.
So, yes, James Carville was forced to apologize. Do you remember that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, could you do more?
I didn't know. I didn't know the lady. I don't know what he would say.
He looks crazy nowadays.
He's looked crazy for a while.
I know, but
he looks like he has some kind of cancer that killed him, but is also that he's been dead.
Yeah, but
he's
it's also
still
sustaining
dying.
him.
Yeah, it's
You know
like
what I
he
mean?
lives and dies from some
I agree.
hideous
100%.
tumor he has within him.
100%.
But like, what's he done lately? That's one of my questions about Carville.
I think he's just doing like Zooms.
Yeah, right. But I'm like, I feel like James Carville
James
is always
Carville's
like,
always on Zoom.
like, what is his last job that he had? Oh, no top lip. I think that's the most fucked up thing about him. No top. He is disgusting to look at. It is. Because what was his last big race?
I don't know the last time someone hired him. He used to be on like the networks all the time. But then they were like, you're too fucked up looking for us to put you on TV.
Oh, he worked on Ehud Barak's 1999 prime minister election.
Well, then he's got the inside tip. We're gonna be
Yeah,
talking
he
about
really
him.
does.
But anyway, so, he said something about this and he got hit with a suit. He had to apologize. There was like a bunch of text removed from the next printing of Andrew Lowney's unauthorized biography of Prince Andrew that came out recently, which is called The Rise and Fall of the House of York. Which I was reading a bunch of actually, and there's so much stuff in there that is really fascinating, not so much about the Epstein relationship, but about the insane graft that those two were up to during their marriage and just like how much nonsense bullshit they were able to reap from crazy charity stuff or these like bullshit. Remember his fucking tech company?
Oh, and was it Pitch at Palace?
Yes, Pitch at Palace. How could we forget?
I think
How could I
I
forget?
don't have the app anymore.
And like just insane financial dealings that are very depressing, especially considering the situation that England is in. Anyway, Trump's lawyers for Melania have now threatened TrueAnon favorite Midtown Martini legend Michael Wolff with the same thing, saying they would sue him, literally saying they would sue him for $1 billion. I'm suing you for $1 billion.
That's such a scary amount. It's the scariest amount of money.
It's so funny to be like, it's $1 billion.
It's the highest amount you could think of.
But Michael Wolff is such a like classic catty bitch that he literally was like, fine, I'll sue you. So he's countersuing Melania. And the filing is so funny. This is a direct quote. Mrs. Trump and her, quote, unitary executive husband, along with their MAGA myrmidons.
That's how you pronounce that?
No.
Myrmidons.
Myrmidons.
Like they're henchmen.
Yes. Have made a practice of threatening those who speak against them with costly slap actions in order to silence their speech, to intimidate their critics generally, and to extract unjustified payments and North Korean-style confessions and apologies. Mr. Wolff has no choice but to defend himself.
No, he has to speak Korean.
The whole thing is so fantastically gay and also includes, like, this is another one that's so funny. Because he like goes through all of the claims that he's made through not just the Daily Beast, but like podcast appearances and like all this shit that he's being sued for. And he's like, it is not defamatory of Mrs. Trump to say that Mr. Trump liked to fuck his friends' wives. Which that statement is about Mr. Trump and not Mrs. Trump. And Mr. Trump is libel proof on that issue.
Fair enough.
He's like doubling down.
Okay.
And he goes on to like defend his claims that the whole marriage is a sham. It's like just a trophy marriage of convenience and so on. The whole filing is like so funny.
I gotta read that.
So I'm like, yes, you go for it. But the other thing I was thinking about with Wolf is like, remember all that fucking Epstein footage that he said he had?
Yes.
And he still has not released?
Well, so this is something in the like tranche of documents that were released. It's a lot of it's Epstein's schedules, and there's some interesting stuff in there. And we knew that Wolf had been meeting with him for a long time. Like that's not.
Yeah, he's still got like hundreds of hours of
Yes,
footage.
I mean that's from Wolf. That
Yeah.
him saying that. But he's in the schedule a bunch, like going back to like 2013, a while back at
Damn.
least, maybe 2015. I can't remember. I looked at a lot of fucking PDFs. Release it. I mean, and of course that goes to Bannon, right? Who was hired,
yeah.
really Epstein's last hire. Bannon needs to release the
But
footage.
he's so squirrely.
I
I'm
know.
like, Wolf, you should release this.
I'm like, can Congress subpoena Bannon for that footage? Is that possible? Sherrod Brown, I know is it Sherrod Brown? Who is the motherfucker who DM'd us?
Rokana.
Rokana! I know, Roger.
Is it short for Roger?
Roger Khanna. Roger Khanna, I know your people listen to this. I know I did rebuff you on coming on the show, and in fact,
Brutally rebuffed.
by even slightly making fun of it. Not Adam Friedland, okay? We're not just having any old Democrat on here. But I'm willing to work with you on this one thing. We need to connect and get this subpoena going on, because I would love to see those HD fucking hours of footage that Stephen Bannon has.
It's true that we're not just having any old Democrat on. And I want to say that, it's been 500 episodes and this is what I say, TrueAnon, not a cheap date.
We've never had a politician on.
Not a cheap date.
And people don't understand what I tell them. Even if I like a politician, this will ruin your career.
Yeah.
If you come on
You
this show.
don't want to come on this show.
It's if look
We've
at what
said
happens.
things that you do not want to be associated
I'll say
with.
something right now you don't want to be associated with.
We don't need to do that.
Contra to most beliefs, life does not begin at conception. And if you look at, and I don't mean this in any fucked up way towards babies, but I'm saying like 6.
Yeah.
What?
If you look in the eyes, you see the spark of soul. They're not. Life begins physically, but the soul doesn't enter the body
I don't
until
think
much
that's
later.
Do you mean
True.
6 years or 6 months?
He's talking years.
I'm talking years.
I don't know the
Okay.
last time that
a
you
little-
hung out with a baby
I hang out with babies frequently.
and you just think they're soulless.
Yeah, but I still like them. Dogs are soulless.
I'm not talking about what how you feel about them. I'm just like you walk away being like there's no soul in that baby.
Here you don't understand. The vessel isn't big enough.
6 months I could agree with.
That's crazy. The vessel isn't big enough.
Do you think if the baby is physically not large enough to hold a soul?
Yes, correct. I do. I think that if you try to pour a gallon of water into a pint glass, some will spill over. And that does happen to babies sometimes. And that's when you meet people who spilled some of their soul when they were a baby.
Yeah,
because God got too hasty.
Makes no
It's
sense.
6 years old.
That makes no sense.
But we still protect, and love them. But it's,
I don't think any of that makes any sense.
I'm going to be looking into your soul later. So, Prince Andrew.
Yes.
Actually, no. Andrew.
Correction, Andrew.
Just as this episode is technically an episode 560 something, Prince Andrew is technically a prince in that he is in the royal family.
He's not.
He's the Andrew formerly known as Prince.
Yeah, yes.
That's awful.
But he is not Prince Andrew. He is Andrew Mountbatten, a former prince, but he's not Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
He's lost every title he's ever been awarded, seemingly under any circumstances.
Well, he like before he lost the title, before he was, it was stripped of him. He did write a whole letter saying like, I'm removing myself from the family.
I know, but that was him trying to like avoid the final humiliation.
Course.
And the final humiliation that the black camel still kneeled at his door. It came. It knocked. He answered. He's done. He has been, I would say, Prince Andrew.
What is his last name?
He doesn't have one.
It's not true.
He doesn't have one. No, it's like Andrew Mountbatten. What is it?
Windsor.
Like the full,
Windsor,
yeah,
of
Andrew Mountbatten
course.
Windsor.
Duh. The House of Windsor.
He his
Andrew Windsor, civilian, is fucking nuts.
and not civilian, exactly, because his military titles are gone too. So he has been under, obviously, as everyone knows on the show, heavy scrutiny since the 2019 Epstein arrest. He gave the amazing Newsnight interview, but not so amazing that it needed 2 movies. Interview in November of that year.
Shocking. That was the most shocking. Look, people are like, God, I can't believe TrueAnon has been going on for so long. You can get so much out of the Epstein stuff. First of all, you don't know what you're talking about because they made 2 movies out of a TV interview about Epstein from Andrew.
This was, and I
movies.
kind of slot them in the genre of like the movies about like who invented hot Cheetos or whatever. You know what I mean?
I understand why.
But I also put the Dylan movie in that category.
But I think this is more. It was like them trying to do the like Me Too movie.
Really? I thought I genuinely thought they were comedies.
No, no. They're like serious.
But why wouldn't you just play the interview?
It's like to me it's similar to the Fox News movie that like didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, the
That-
Megyn Kelly Me Too movie.
Yeah. But also it was like, oh shit, you could just like option. You used to be able to just option anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if we live in that economy anymore.
No. Or the options have gone down. 4 days later, after that disastrous interview where he said he could not sweat and he was at Pizza Express in Woking, which is where most of our listeners probably live. It's like a walking or something. But you know what? Woking. Most of our listeners can't do the latter. A bunch of
'Cause
charities.
they're always at Pizza
Because they're
Express.
always at Pizza Express and because they take the kind of SSRIs because they were like, they made a devil's bargain. I want my dick to still work. And the doctor said, but your legs will never. And they said, that's fine. I'll still take them. Basically, nobody hears from him again until 2021, where he sort of like dips his toe back in. So like, maybe I'll accompany mum to something.
And he does like his toes.
He does, and he does like his toes. In late 2021, though, those appearances were put to an end by a lawsuit filed by Virginia Jeffrey here in New York City. Prince Andrew eventually settled for an undisclosed but substantial amount in 2022. He steps back again, mostly hangs out at the Royal Lodge, which is like, I think just like his pad in Windsor, you know, like his like big mansion there. Now Virginia Jeffrey's memoir is coming out, which by the way, I have a copy for you. I forgot to bring it. And it describes incidents with Andy, including the circumstances of the famous photograph of her and Prince Andrew. She also
with the hovering Ghislaine.
with the hovering Ghislaine.
Never look, Ghislaine always lurker.
The photograph that both Ghislaine and Andrew said was fake. It was a forgery.
Right.
She describes Prince Andrew as a foot guy, and I'm paraphrasing there, and that he'd hired internet trolls to harass her, which I actually do fully believe. There was a huge backlash to these revelations. They're not revelations, actually, because we knew all of this.
Yeah.
But there's a backlash to this information resurfacing in the UK. His rep was already in the toilet. This is actually kind of interfered with the other royals, like public lives. Like people heckle them all the time about it. And
Good.
yeah, and I think it was Scottish National Party MPs lodged an early day motion. And Liz, you don't understand how long it took me to figure out what the fuck that is.
I love Parliament.
It's a weird UK Parliament thing where you basically just make a statement and like it's like a statement. I think you're supposed to like table it to debate later, but and I think in the rules that's technically what it is, but in practice, an early day motion is basically where you're like, I want to say something, but we're not going to a debate with this.
I love that. You shouldn't debate. Just say things.
Well, so it's actually you're not allowed to use defamatory or negative language about the royals in Parliament.
I did know that.
I didn't know that.
Yes, because I remember there was a famous incident where Corbyn wouldn't stand for the Queen. There was a whole thing. Everyone was very upset. There's very little one can do about the royals as an MP.
Yeah, I there was also, I think Dennis Skinner got in trouble for talking shit on the royals and like had to apologize. It's so crazy. I guess you can do that in America too, but in England I feel like they
Yeah, you
always
have to do it in America. It's for Charlie Kirk.
That's true. You have to be like,
We have our own
the
royals.
fucking school teachers that all try to get fired. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I hate right-wing people so fucking much. We'll talk about it after. It's too much to get into right now. But yeah, you're not allowed to use mean words about, or not mean. You're not allowed to like speak negatively about the monarchy in Parliament, which I guess that's like.
And now you can't speak negatively about anything.
But I'm like, now can you speak negatively about
Andrew? Well,
Andrew
he's
in
not a
Parliament?
royal.
He's not a royal anymore.
Yeah.
So on Friday, October 17th, the same day, I guess actually the tranche was released, Andrew announces he's giving up all of his honors. He writes,
In discussion with the king and my immediate and wider family, that's so weird to say, my immediate and wider family, we have concluded the continued accusations about me distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family. I have decided, as I always have, to put my duty to my family and country first. I stand by my decision 5 years ago to stand back from public life. With His Majesty's agreement, we feel I must now go a step further. I will therefore no longer use my title or the honors which have been conferred upon me. As I have said previously, I vigorously deny the accusations against me.
so he will no longer be a Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, and he'll cease to be a Royal Knight Companion of the Most Noble Order of the Garter.
What?
Yes, the Japanese Emperor is one. That one seems to just be awarded to current sort of the dissolute European and I guess in the Japanese Emperor's case, East Asian nobility. He would retain, however, his house at the Royal Lodge and still be a prince. But 2 weeks later, on Halloween, the royals put out a statement.
His Majesty has to date initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His lease on Royal Lodge has, to date, provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. Their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse. Yeah, okay.
Mountbatten's really, they're like, not family name is not exactly covered in non-pedophile glory.
Yeah.
He is no longer His Royal Highness or Prince. He is also no longer the Earl of Inverness, and I think he had a couple other titles.
Not the Earl.
The Earl, his earldom has been stripped. He will lose all titles and approbations. He is being evicted. But it turns from the Royal Lodge, and it turns out, I looked this up, I could not believe it. His rent is 1 peppercorn, and then in parenthetical, on demand.
Like peppercorn, like a peppercorn?
1 peppercorn.
I just don't know if that's like British slang for, you know how they always have like funny like words for coins?
Like a quid.
Yeah. What would a peppercorn be?
I don't know.
$1 million? No, it means a peppercorn on demand.
So he always has to have one.
No.
Oh.
It means
If one demands a
if
peppercorn.
one demands, he has to go get one. You know what I mean? And it doesn't appear to have ever been demanded. And you gotta wonder if you're like some bloke in the Midlands. You're like, you're paying for your flat, and you're like, this guy just pays a peppercorn.
But who is the landlord?
It's the UK state. So I think Windsor Palace. I might be wrong on this.
So fucked up and crazy.
I think the Windsor Palace is technically like or whatever. Some of it's owned by like the actual government of
right.
the UK.
Okay.
But then also they have private holding. Isn't like that one like Channel Island? I think is just like their domain as well. Can't remember what it's called, but it's like 50 residents. Yeah. I think he should be sent to Tristan da Cunha.
Sure, that'd be nice.
I know. I really want to go there. But he is losing all his military honors. He's losing his house. He is, however, people are like, oh, he has to like maybe what is he going to go live in the East End or whatever? I don't know, whatever places they have in the UK. But he actually he's just going to go live on like his brother's estate. So. Yeah.
He
It's
should
not-
just hide until he dies.
Yeah, I think. And Trump commented saying to NBC, "It's a terrible thing that has happened to the family. That's been a tragic situation, and it's too bad. I mean, I really feel bad for the family.
For the royal family.
Really
he's
feel
saying.
that bad for the royal family.
No.
But it's got to be crazy to have your brother be like, you aren't a prince anymore, dude. And you got to go live at my crib now.
Yeah.
Because we can't trust you. We can't trust you around here.
I feel like all of that is one, like what you're saying, everyone's getting hounded and it's just like too annoying and too messy. And also Andrew's been the thorn in the side of the royal family for far too long.
What do you do every day if
But-
you're like that?
I also think that it is in a sort of like the father preparing to like give Will the best leg up for
Yeah.
when he finally takes the crown, because you don't want Will having to deal with his like nasty uncle.
No. No. The Who have a song about that.
But there's more
There's
news.
yet more news, ladies. There's so much more news. This is a very classic episode.
Classico is what they call it.
Yeah, but that classico is house style, but I'm speaking objectively and that this is a classic episode.
The pedantry is all over the place.
The
today.
pedantry is all over the place.
Over the weekend, there was a new report from Dropsite News, shout out Dropsite News, with more details on Epstein's relationship with Ehud Barak.
So these are coming from the hacked emails of former Israeli Prime Minister, Defense Minister Ehud Barak. We covered these emails in an interview with Matthew Petty,
Yes.
and they came from DDoS Secrets, which is the Hendela hack. However, when we did that episode, we actually only had access to the emails between Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak.
Yeah.
And after that episode came out, all of the emails were released.
Right. So we need to go back a little bit to something that some of us remember well in different ways. The Syrian Civil War.
I haven't the foggiest. Yes.
Okay, so between 2013 and 2016,
Yeah.
which was sort of like when everything was kind of getting going,
Yeah.
kind of collapsing into it. We'll say
It was I feel like 2016 was when like things like the lines 2016 really like the lines were kind of clearer to the different sides.
right. So Syria's collapsing into civil war. During this time, Epstein helped former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak open up a private back channel between Israel and the Kremlin. They were, I mean, this is from Dropsite's reporting, trying to persuade Vladimir Putin to back a Russian brokered removal of Bashar al-Assad. This whole thing is wild and very funny, and also a very interesting look at how a lot of this kind of influence spreads and kind of like manifests in public and then also in private. So the idea is that this would like basically protect Israel's borders while weakening Iran and then make Russia look like an indispensable international mediator. At least like that's basically the pitch that they were giving the Russians, kind of via the Israelis. So thousands of the hacked emails they're kind of going through. They also verified some of this stuff in part from congressional records from the time, but they show like as you're going through them that Epstein like wasn't just functioning as a kind of like financier as we have kind of classic. I mean, I don't want to say we, but I will say as the public has classically understood maybe some of his role in various, circles of power, but kind of as a fixer.
Yeah.
And even as a ghostwriter.
Yes.
Which I'm like, you don't get the guy who's like What's this got to do with pussy?
He can't
Ghostwriting
spell
your
like
op-ed.
the.
I do think that's the BlackBerry,
Dude.
but I know.
But no emails have surfaced since then showing good spelling. There's
It's
a few.
true.
There's a few that we have in here that are better spelling than some of the BlackBerry, but like none of them show a talent for writing in any.
Yeah, no, just terrible. More importantly, though, they also show him functioning as an informal intelligence conduit.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think with beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's what's happening here.
Right. So he's there, like, arranging meetings, offering inside gossip from, like, Russian and American security circles, and trying to make all these, like, introductions to very influential people. He also coached Ehud Barak on when to loop in Israel's Mossad chief, whom they only referred to as number one.
So we've got, what is it, Mr. Big,
We've got,
your boy, and number one.
I have to say it in the voice, though. Mr. Big, your boy, and number one.
So, take us back to 2013.
Okay, 2013. It's on everyone's mind again. It's back, baby. Everyone's already rewatched Girls. We're going back to that time. So, no, Ehud Barak just retired from Israel's defense ministry, okay? He was courting Victor Veckelsberg and his Renova group, great name, for a lucrative consulting gig. Literally, he's getting quotes for $1 million advance with $1 million quarterly retainer. I'm like, damn, I want to consult for you, Victor
I know,
Veckelsberg.
dude. Consulting is the greatest scam of
It's
all
so
time.
cool.
I mean,
But I think it's over now.
no.
I mean, it's not over.
It's just
but-
begun for people like us.
Well, so Epstein and Barack started. I'm sorry, I can't call him Barack because I just think of Hussein Obama. So I got to call him Ehud.
Okay.
So Jeffy and Ehud start collabing on a media strategy.
Jeffy X Ehud.
Yeah, Jeffy X Ehud. And it's an op-ed titled "The Kremlin Holds the Keys," which basically argues that Russia and not the Americans can end the Syrian civil war. They pitch it to a bunch of places. All of the American papers are like, we're good.
Yeah, and we saw so in the emails that we had access to, we saw some of this. Like we saw some of the back and forth. It's allows, frankly, obviously, like there's like diplomatic and like intelligence aspects to like why they're trying to publish it. But like if you're not one of the and a lot of people in media are either immutable or in on that. But if you're like one of the editors who's not, and they send this to you, like, this isn't very good, man.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, New York Times, Washington Post, and I think it was the Wall Street Journal all were like, we're good.
Yeah.
So finally, but it does get published in the Telegraph. The UK was all over that. Not surprising. At the same time this is going on, Ehud Barak is trying to get a private meeting with Putin during the upcoming St. Petersburg Economic Forum.
Which also factor into I think we talked about those
We did.
emails with Matthew Petty. Like those are in the Ehud Barak, Jeffrey Epstein emails a bunch.
Yes. Now, emails confirm that there was a meeting between Ehud Barak and Putin, and that it included a follow-up note to Putin's aide Yuri Yushakov that said, messages were conveyed to the top players. Okay, pull back. We're in the Syrian civil war. It's 2013. 2 months later, August, there's the big attacks in Ghouta. Everyone, I think, remembers.
Move on.
Okay. Obama, though, in this moment, threatens strikes and then backs off.
Yes, the infamous red line.
The infamous red line.
The red line. And this is why you never want to make a red line because your bitch ass ain't going to do it.
You know what, though? I do think the Chinese would do it. Not in this situation, but the
They
Chinese...
don't do anything.
No. In this, like, quote-unquote deal that the Chinese have made with the Trump admin, which is, too much to get into right now. But there are some, I believe, red line...
Well, to that, I'll say we'll see.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess Obama did do like 10% more and shit. But like,
Right.
it's
But that doesn't count because that's clandestine.
That's clandestine. That's not like they weren't like they were like we're gonna bomb you.
Yeah.
And then you kind of bitched out.
He did. Anyway, the Russians, they come in and they propose a chemical weapons deal, and that is eventually what shapes the UN framework. But importantly, Assad stays in power. So, Jeffy x Ehud, not finished yet. The collab keeps going another season. And then they start turning their same influence network toward Iran from like 2014 to 2015. So they start pressing for U.S. military pressure on Iran and against Obama's nuclear deal. It's the nuclear deal. Everyone was so upset.
There's still pretty upset over the nuclear deal. Trump was upset over the nuclear deal.
I mean, it's around this time that Epstein helps Ehud get some meetings again at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum and is like making introductions to new Russian officials. So he's like hooking them up. And he tells them, this is Ehud, he tells them that, quote, Jeffrey could brief them on finance and markets, quote, in the new world of zero interest rates.
My friend Jeffrey Epstein here would like to introduce you to ZERP, Mr. Putin.
Well, but I think it's important that he calls him Jeffrey first name because it means they're already familiar with the Jeffrey that he's talking about.
Yeah, I think like, listen, from what we got from like the Ehud Barak Jeffrey Epstein emails that we saw, like he definitely had some pretty important contacts over there.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the whole correspondence paints Epstein as like basically a stateless operator.
But you know who else it reminds one of is Robert Maxwell.
Absolutely.
Right? Like Robert Maxwell was over in the Soviet Union during the Cold War, sort of making these business deals. He was in Bulgaria, making a ton of business deals with the nominally communist party there during the Cold War.
Mm-hmm. And yet still working for the Israelis.
And still working for the British. You know what I mean? And so like people think like, it's a crazy world out there.
Yeah, but so I mean, he's moving seamlessly in these emails. You see him moving seamlessly between intelligence, finance, and diplomacy, and basically leveraging all of his relationships to advance fundamentally Israeli security interests and his own access. And so by the time that Epstein gets arrested in 2019, the emails show he had spent all of those years kind of mediating between Israeli, American, and Russian elites. And that Ehud Barak back channel between the Israelis and the Russians was like basically a very long-lasting and I think consequential one. So in Barak's final message to Epstein after the 2015 forum, he simply writes, "Thanks for setting the whole thing together. Thanks for setting the whole thing together."
So to round us out, we're going back to Bloomberg. And by the way, those emails mentioned the drop site article, which is a great article. You can download those from DDoS Secrets now.
Yeah.
Like they got released after we put our episode out, not because of that, but just at the same time. And you should go check them out because maybe you can put together some connections. Going back to Bloomberg, though, because these emails are not released. These are the ones that it seemingly they have.
Well,
Just
it's his
them have?
private Yahoo email account.
Yeah.
And they go back to 2007, about, they say, over 18,000 emails
Yeah.
that they are going through.
And there's been a number of articles that are coming. I mean, listen, these emails can be sometimes, just from the emails that I've read of Jeffrey Epstein's, a little difficult to parse in terms of clarity of language and words used that resemble words in English or even just with the Roman alphabet, but that don't, when you actually read them, correspond to any word that you've actually ever heard or read in your life before.
So what Jason Leopold over at Bloomberg kind of puts together in this piece is that Epstein was fighting back against a possible money laundering probe launched by Maria Villafaña, the assistant U.S. attorney for Southern District of Florida. This is something that we previously did not know.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that she existed, but we didn't know that she was running this or attempting to run this investigation. So, like, my view of Maria Villafaña, from just what I've read about the reporting on this stuff, is that because there's a big, I think, Miami Herald article about sort of her, and probably planted or like, at her suggestion. Maybe she was the source for much of it. But it's about her problems with Acosta and some of the other people who are assigned to this case. And how
you see some of it in the emails.
For sure you do. And she was completely, I mean, if she's telling the truth, she really was outmaneuvered at basically every level by these guys. I mean, they just did all these deals around her.
So Leopold notes that the emails don't disclose what the investigation actually found, just that Epstein and his company's response to the investigation. So this is a quote from the piece.
One former law enforcement official familiar with the matter who spoke to Bloomberg on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivities surrounding the case said the probe lasted 18 months and turned up at least tens of millions of dollars in questionable financial transactions.
Yes. So around this time, there were a bunch of banks that were subpoenaed in relation to the investigation. Washington Mutual, Bear Stearns, and J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan Chase now says that they can't find a record of it, but in this piece they say like unnamed sources say that they were absolutely subpoenaed, and so I'm assuming that those are sources that were in the U.S. Attorney's office at the time. But I do think it's interesting that the banks are trying to like walk back some of this stuff. Now, Bloomberg notes that all of this kind of brings back up the shadiness around the plea deal.
Yeah.
So Alex Costa, who we've talked about plenty of time, and we'll talk about again. He's the one who negotiated the deal as U.S. Attorney for Southern District of Florida. He was dragged in front of Congress last month, right? Remember when they were having those hearings? And he testified that he didn't really remember any discussion of, quote, potential financial crimes. That seems to be a total lie. He lied.
Well, no, he didn't, because he says he can't recall.
Of course.
And so that's kind of how you get out of that. I think they released that full transcript in the October 17th kind of document dump, although I'm not sure. But it's on some congressional website. You can find it.
Well, Rokana, who's listening to this podcast right now, should follow up, because this is from the piece. The emails and documents from Epstein's Yahoo account show that the prosecution office discussed the financial crimes component of the investigation with Acosta and copied him on correspondence about it. And further, quote, records obtained as part of the money laundering probe were stored at the U.S. Attorney's Office in a folder titled Money Laundering.
Okay, well, that could mean anything. Those could be two separate words.
It's crazy. Like, everything surrounding the non-prosecution agreement, because that's the plea deal we're talking about, is so shady to begin with. And yet this piece makes it more compromising, I think, than ever like previously reported.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're going to go back in time again. Palm Beach police opened a criminal investigation into Epstein in 2005. That was after a phone call from a concerned mother who said her 14-year-old had been paid to give a man named Jeff a massage at his mansion. The feds don't get involved until like a year later, and that's when they kind of opened up a much wider investigation, which included subpoenaing Epstein's tax returns for the past 2 years, which I feel like that's just like standard. You're looking into a guy, you ask for the tax. It's just like part of the whole package.
People, and not to defend Jeffrey here. Whether man pays his taxes or not is none of the government's fucking business.
What?
It's just not.
Whose business is it?
It's my business. It's
your business, whoever pays their taxes or not?
Yes. It's my business if you. Well, listen. In this book, this TrueAnon Rules book, which, by the way, thank you, whoever made this, it says always pay your taxes, and I think it's an honor system kind of thing. Always pay your taxes.
That's not true.
It's not. Well, it is that obviously.
I do think you should always pay your taxes.
But I will say this is a tip that I heard, that if you don't pay your taxes and they catch you, you can kind of go to the IRS and be like, I'll give you $500 right now. And cash. And I'm not going to pay you the rest of it. And
well, like, don't you think it depends how much you owe?
Yeah, but no one who's listening to the show owes like $5 million in taxes.
They might owe like $15,000.
This is someone I know did this who owed like $40,000 in taxes.
What year was it?
A while ago.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is not financial advice. It's more like legal advice, but I'm just saying that I'm not saying you should do this. I'm saying that I know multiple people who
Who've
have
done
done this.
Yeah.
It just that's also how I got out of a lot of tickets in San Francisco, like municipal tickets. Is I just went to the office and I was like, I'll give you guys like $100.
I feel like the IRS and the whole situation is on a whole nother tip.
I
right
pay
now.
my taxes so to the penny.
So, well, I think Epstein did too, but obviously they found some stuff.
Yeah.
Because 3 months later, the feds opened up this money laundering investigation. So this is now February 2007 to kind of situate us. So Bloomberg reports that they found a kind of history of these like large cash withdrawals from employees of Jeffries. This is kind of similar to what JP Morgan internal flags found, kind of going back decades. If you guys remember, this is all stuff that came out from the Virgin Islands lawsuit against JP Morgan Chase.
Yeah, he was withdrawing like $40,000 at a time.
So they had filed all these suspicious activity reports starting in 2002, which
Yeah.
is a really long time. And they processed over $1 billion in transactions for Epstein over the course of 15 years. Now, after his death, JP Morgan Chase filed reports to U.S. authorities flagging tens of millions of dollars that they had found suspicious, including a bunch of wires and stuff that they had flagged as being potential like trafficking or foreign transfers.
Yeah.
None of this we kind of knew about, by the way.
Yes. Well, something that I was like, fuck, SARS. Like, where do I know about that? That is from, do you remember FinCEN Files? Mm-hmm. That was the same guy, Jason Leopold, who wrote that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, damn, because the big thing that I remember from that was that all the people who were in charge of FinCEN, which is the U.S. Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, were wasted. And in fact, one of the whistleblowers, when he was like whistleblowing on them, was like, no, I promise you, everyone's wasted all the time. Go to this specific strip club and they'll know every FinCEN person's name because everyone spends all day there. That they were wasted and they were not following up on any of the SARs, suspicious activity reports. And so I'm like, damn, okay, so they could have filed a report at every single time they were supposed to, and probably they were not read, but instead like Fireball was spilled on them.
I mean, this is also, this is kind of coming at the same time as other reporting from the New York Times on this that showed in those disclosures a bunch of transactions between Jeffy and Leon Black, you love him, Glenn Dubin, Alan Dershowitz, and Leslie Wexner. And so this is from the New York Times. Mr. Black had paid Mr. Epstein about $170 million and hundreds of thousands of dollars to at least 3 women who were associated with Mr. Epstein. Now, I'm assuming those are his quote-unquote assistants.
Yeah.
They also go on. It has also mentioned Mr. Epstein's wire transfers to Russian banks and sensitivities around, quote, his relationships with 2 U.S. presidents. So basically they say like
Wow.
they didn't like really alert or they put in the kind of paperwork for all of this like we're being sensitive because of his relationships with Clinton and Trump.
Yeah.
Back to the Southern District of Florida. So the government had been aware and looking into all of this stuff since at least 2007. Okay? A few months after opening the money laundering investigation in 2007, Villafana put together a 53-page indictment with an 82-page prosecution memo. I think both of those still are sealed or haven't been
I think
released.
that they are, yeah.
But she wrote that Epstein should be charged with money laundering. Now, Epstein and the U.S. Attorney's Office enter into plea negotiations starting in July of 2007. Based on a lot of these emails, like they don't really get anywhere. Jeff is like, hell no, I'm not registering as a sex offender. I'm not pleading guilty. No. It's like all this back and forth is all in the emails. None of this we knew, by the way, before. That there was such an intense kind of negotiation and back and forth between both parties.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that there were these sort of negotiations between Epstein's legal team and the U.S. attorneys. But the way it's sort of been portrayed, because all we have really been able to know about so far is like these meetings at like hotels or dinners with like Dershowitz and Acosta, et cetera, et cetera. Et cetera.
Right. And in these emails, Jeffy is like literally editing legal memos
Yeah.
and saying like yes and no. And like there are like Google Docs where JEE is kind of in the margins and all this stuff. But it's also interesting because I think the MPA is presented as so favorable that it's sort of shocking to see that at one point it wasn't for him and they were able to like really get somewhere with these negotiations.
Yeah.
So Villafana requests subpoenas for like all of Epstein's financial records going back to 2003. And she sends this letter that is saying like, unless Epstein signs the MPA, they're going to keep looking into his finances. This is from the letter. Will you read this?
In other words, if the sex offense case is resolved, the office would close its investigation into other areas as well. The matter has not been and does not appear that it will be resolved, so the money laundering investigation continues.
So I feel like this complicates a little bit the image of Villafana on this
Absolutely.
sort of like
Absolutely.
white hat, you know.
U.S. attorney, yeah.
Yeah, like I just, you know, they're using a little muscle. They're the feds. That's fine. But also they really want to get this deal done and this case, you know, off the table.
The way that Villafana has been sort of presented, or probably presented herself, but also
Yeah,
there
I
was a
think
government
so.
there was a government accountability report that talks kind of in
Yeah.
detail about this. Is as somebody who was really outmaneuvered, but that can also be true. But she was part of this team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Epstein gets a meeting with Acosta, and this is at the same time as Villafana is like continuing to go after him for the money laundering case. Like so much so that she sends out like the FBI to a bunch of his assistants' homes.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no one did. She also contacted Les Wexner directly, telling him that Epstein was under investigation for money laundering, and this is according to the reporting, tried to get him to flip on Epstein, which is really interesting. Now, the way that this timeline seems to line up is that it is basically right at this moment when Villafana calls Wexner that he starts, because it kind of lines up in the emails,
Yeah.
that he starts kind of pulling back. And it's like, I think it's the next day that Wexner emails to get one of the properties out of Jeffrey's name and into Abigail's, his wife's, which is very interesting. So he gets spooked here. So Jeffy ends up signing the MPA on September 24th, 2007. And this is just one day before Villafana said she would indict him on money laundering charges.
And there's something else to factor in here too, which is something that I saw in the tranche that was released, but it's being reported on in the also because everyone else saw the tranche that was released. One of the U.S. attorneys on this team who was going after Jeffrey Epstein was a guy named Michael Menschel, who was one of the negotiators of the NPA. He had, which I think we actually did know about this, he had a conflict of interest, which was that he was dating or had dated, it's a little unclear, but probably was still dating, one of the women from Jeffrey Epstein's legal team. So, again, one of the people who was prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein had a rather unclear romantic relationship with one of the people on Jeffrey Epstein's legal team. Now, I think we can see from the results there, Jeffrey Epstein getting one of the best deals the government has ever given anybody, probably which way maybe information or favors flowed in that relationship. But amid the tranche of documents, or within rather the tranche of documents released on October 17th, again, a lot of Jeffrey Epstein's schedules. And these schedules are from much later than 2008, to that 2013, 2015, 2012. And it appears that he was hanging out with Michael Menschel kind of a lot. And they were getting dinner together, and they were hanging out together. Menschel was coming over to the crib.
What a mensch.
Also, in that newly released Acosta, or that newly, whatever, done Acosta interview, Acosta, and we haven't seen these, but Acosta is asked about photos of Michael Menschel and Jeffrey Epstein on a ski trip together. Now, this is actually pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like one of the guys, I mean, Acosta has gotten a lot of shit, deservedly so, right? But like one of the guys on this fucking legal team is going from like giving Jeffrey Epstein this incredible NPA fucking insane, amazing pedophile deal, and then going on fucking ski trips with Jeffrey later.
Well,
It's a little crazy. It's a little crazy. And the guy's, of course, like everybody else, he's in private practice now.
so despite getting such a crazy, incredible, unprecedented NPA, Jeff was not pleased with the kind of like sentencing agreement that they were proposing. And he like sent a bunch of like crazed emails to the head of Bear Stearns and like another one to his old shrink that are, I don't know, kind of desperate sounding. I mean, I don't know. He also sent himself a draft of a letter that he was preparing for Acosta's office as they were trying to negotiate like what his sentencing deal was going to be. Do you want to read this?
Thank you for your time on Wednesday. It was very informative. I was surprised to learn that both you and your office are committed to a level playing field. The horizontal equity policy to which you referred has clearly not been exercised in this case. The policy clearly implies that a man of wealth, MOW, should be treated no differently than any of those less fortunate. That certainly has not happened here. Though many cases of a similar and even more serious nature have been resolved with a sentence of house arrest, even the madam in the recent Couton case, we were told that it was not available to my client because it would be considered, quote, mansion arrest. So
Mansion arrest.
and it's true. And it's true. They were going after him just because he had a little bit of bread. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a squirrel trying to get a nut.
Ew. I don't like thinking of Jeffrey Epstein in that.
With the big cheeks.
Or just in the rule of, squirrels just trying to get nuts.
Squirrels just trying to get a nut.
Anyway, it appears that, so there were these like intense negotiations and Epstein was able to like claw back a lot from the initial sentencing proposal. And, as we know, he ended up pleading guilty to 2 sex charges in state court, not federal court, right? Just to remember that. Registering as a sex offender. He, of course, only served 12 months from the 18 months, and it was all on work release that let him leave jail 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, where he went and worked at an office that also some lovely ladies worked at. So that, there's a lot in those emails that, again, give us a better picture of some of this timeline, and yet there's still so many questions.
Yeah.
I want to kind of finish up here with another beautiful email. This one's from Les Wexner, and it's from Les to Jeffrey's Yahoo account. And this is in June of 2008. So this is after the sentencing is signed and everything is agreed upon. And he writes, Abigail told me the result. All I can say is I feel sorry. You violated your number 1 rule. Always be careful.
Always be careful.
ABC.
Always be careful. But not a TrueAnon rule.
500 episodes, guy. Wait, there's one more email. Hopefully we did a little interstitial or something around the last part, because that was a good ending for the actual main part of the episode. But there's a part I forgot to read, which is, I just wanted to include to bum some people out. From 2013, June, this is Epstein's schedule. This is in the tranche. Reminder, Robert Redford, is asking if you could have lunch with him early June in Santa Fe. You said yes, but you also suggested any time in August. Reminder, if you're in Florida any time in July, you must re-register at the Florida Stockade.
I don't know. It's not that surprising.
Yeah, Robert Redford, I know.
I feel like Santa Fe, small town.
Well, yeah.
For rich guys?
There's a lot of weird Santa Fe Institute stuff.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But I just mean like the kind of like wealthy cowboy situation out there.
Man, I knew some guys, I knew some guys who got stuck in a weird situation. Not in Santa Fe, but not too far. Yeah.
Okay.
But not
Great-
for the show.
It's a great story.
Yeah, I'll tell you after. Yeah, 500 episodes, guys. Which was your favorites?
How could I pick?
It's this one for me.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about every episode we do. This is my favorite to be supplanted only by the next episode,
Yeah.
which will be even better.
I think my favorites are yet to come.
I think my favorites aren't the good ones.
Yeah. I feel like I probably love episodes that our listeners despise.
Like what?
I'm trying to think of what.
I think it's hard for me because I have a different experience than the ones than listeners do for the episodes. So what I remember is the recording of the episode. What they hear is the finished product. Two very different things.
I remember
And so my enjoyment of the episode is necessarily tied to the experience of recording it with you guys.
Sometimes it feels good. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's like a really like a episode we do like a lot of notes for and a lot of research for, and then we do it and it's good, that is the best.
That's very
feeling.
satisfying.
It's satisfying.
It's like, we did all that.
But I would
We did
say
that.
I would say my favorite episodes are
The girls listening.
the girl listening to this, your episode, the episode of your life, which started when you were born and will end in a billion years in heaven.
Actually, it started at 6 years old.
Yeah, it's true. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. My own rule, and I broke my own rule. How about that?
Always be careful.
Always be careful. I actually don't believe in that as a rule.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Do you think that was actually Jeffrey Epstein's number one rule?
I can see that.
Always be careful.
Always be careful.
That's a crazy fucking rule to have be your number one rule when you're a pedophile.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good rule to be your number one
No,
rule
I'm
as
just
a
saying.
pedophile.
No, I feel like it's incriminating of oneself to be like, if you're like, "What's your number one rule?" and you're like, "Always be careful,"
I don't
and
know
it's
if
like
it's-
you're doing something then.
My always be careful shirt, as people ask.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's I would say if I was if I was a pedophile.
Cut the if.
No, don't keep the if in and keep this part in when I'm telling you to do that just to keep you honest. If I was a pedophile, my rules that I would publicly tell people would be always over 18 and preferably much older, and no kids.
I think that if you're,
But I would be those would be my public rules.
No. If you're voicing those as your rules, then I've got questions.
Yeah.
You don't-
But they're answered by the rules.
But
18,
you don't-
18
no.
up. 18 up.
People who don't violate those rules don't need to say them.
Yeah, but I say those rules for the benefit of others. I know the rules.
No, I don't. I
'Cause you're a
think
role
it's
model.
it's one of those classic things where if you didn't mention the thing, no one would be looking at the thing.
They say that, but sometimes they need to look, and it's like if looking at the sun, it blinds you with its brightness.
It's a class. Yeah, no.
It blinds you with its brightness.
Much like you.
I don't think I am too bright.
That's not true.
Thank you. Sometimes I abuse myself so that Liz will be like, "No, don't say that about yourself," and I'm like, "Actually, I was just fishing for a compliment." Actually, I don't like receiving compliments, but
I don't think that's true. I think you do like receiving.
I
compliments.
don't. I feel uncomfortable.
Do you?
Yeah, because I feel objectified. Because it's never about my mind; it's always about my body.
Oh, sure.
Always about my fucking body.
Yeah.
And
You're
it's
so
just
much shorter than I thought.
because people think because I project tall. I project when people hear me on this podcast.
They're like, "That's a tall voice."
Exactly, and I'm sick of it. And you know what? Because this
Do
is
you
physical
think you
too.
can hear short and tall?
I think I do sound my height.
Brace walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Why the tall voice?"
Yeah, you can. I
Do
think.
you think so?
Yeah, I think
I
you
don't
kind
think
of
you
can.
can.
It's not like necessarily in like the timbre and pitch of the voice itself, although you can glean something from that. But it's often in how they speak and what they say. You know?
Oh, I see. So you feel like there's a confidence.
It's not even that because there's confident, tall, small guy, the famous Gimli, right from Lord of the Rings.
I don't know what that-
well, in his whatever,
What's Gimli?
Dwarf.
he's a dwarf, but he had a
my
sort
axe.
of and he
I've
had
literally never seen these movies.
they
so
are
I don't
books, Liz, that became movies.
know. I don't know. Did I tell you that my parents lived in a dorm that all the dorms in their college were named after Lord of the Rings?
They
Did I tell you
co-ed
that?
dorms.
Wow.
What?
They co-ed dorms.
I guess. Oh no, they didn't live in the same
Oh.
dorm, but I'm sure they were co-ed
A
dorms.
midnight visit, but
But no, they lived in. Oh, I can't remember
Mordor.
the one.
What
But there
was it?
was one named Mordor.
They
But
lived.
didn't-
There was a Mordor.
Yeah, but they didn't live in that
Mordor.
one.
Dude, there was in the fucking Philippines. My dad told me this shit. There was a fucking bar called the Hobbit House, and it was all.
Tinies?
Well, I made the hand gesture. I didn't say it, but yeah, it was all tiny people. I think it was there till the 90s. There's a Google review thing, but it says closed permanently.
But I feel like the Hobbit bar sounds like that. That could exist. I believe in that.
I could see, but your parents, like, you know, it's 60s, 70s, when they're in 60s, I guess, when they're in college. Lord of the Rings was fucking big. Lord of the Rings is big as fuck.
Yeah, 70s.
70s, even bigger, even bigger. So that doesn't surprise me, but I'm like, I feel like the Shire is one you're like, oh, I can't wait to live. Oh, sounds so cozy.
I know.
But then
Now
it's
I'm like so mad. Wait, now I want to like text and be like, wait, what was the?
Quickly.
No, I know. I'm not going to get a text back quick enough.
But I feel like Gimli is a really good example of a guy who's got a lot of, because he was fighting the tall fella, the sort of. I can't remember the elf's name. There's one named Elrond, but that's not the elf that's fighting alongside
Elrond
Gimli.
Hubbard.
No, what the fuck is the elf? It's like a famous elf. You know what I'm talking about? He's like,
Don't
it's-
look at me. I literally have no.
I read this. My dad. I actually have never read the books. They were read to me when I was a child. But there's a fucking famous elf, and he's the most famous elf probably. That's like a regular size elf, because obviously there's tiny elves are technically a different race, like the Keebler ones.
Wait, you're not a Lord of the Ring guy?
No.
That's like a specific kind of guy that we are. That neither of us are. That's
But
like
I feel like you know a lot.
I know a lot about a lot of things, but I don't know.
But I feel like you know a lot about Lord of the Rings.
I frankly, almost all of the stuff that I do know comes from having watched the movies twice in my life, but and having had the books read to me when I was like 9 or 10. But I haven't really I've never really, I don't ever feel the need to revisit or anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you did watch them twice.
Yeah, but I've been alive for kind of a long time. You know.
Is it Galadriel?
No, that's the chick. That's the chick. Galadriel's the chick that hooks up with the fucking dude.
Oh, I thought that was Arwen.
Oh, fuck. Maybe you're right then. No, the elf from... Dude, what are you looking up that you can't find this elf?
I just looked up Lord of the Rings elves.
Elf
and
from
there's
Lord
a
of the Rings.
Reddit thread and people are arguing.
It's fucking... they have a picture of him there. Legolas, dude.
Legolas,
He's
oh.
famous.
Sure.
Oh, that's the one with long hair.
Yes. How do I couldn't remember.
He's an
Legolas.
elf? He's not giving elf.
What the fuck is he giving you?
I'm saying he looks taller with the long hair.
You don't understand. There's two kinds of elves. There are little elves that make cookies, and then there's giant elves that are in like
Wait,
Warcraft.
what?
There's little-
You
I
can
think-
be a tall elf?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wait, I feel
Liz.
like elves are small. Elves are small.
I agree with you. But
Wait, this is,
basically,
like, blowing my mind.
Because I feel like of Lord of the Rings, there's the elves branched at that point.
Elves were often between 6 and 7 feet tall.
That's crazy.
What?
7? They could dunk.
That feels like a complete. You can't be an elf and be tall.
So wait, who's that fella you always LeBron? You love the guy that you say is the GOAT, greatest of all time. Imagine him, but that's what an elf looks like. So that, because to me, I thought elves were like 6'2" or something. They're 6 and 7 feet tall.
I thought elves were like 2-3 feet
So
tall.
again, Liz, you don't understand. Elfin creatures are like little gnomes or some shit.
Yeah.
But after Lord of the Rings came out, you probably surprised some other things that are, but like the elves split, and then some elves were Keebler elves, and then other elves were in Warcraft, which is a taller elf. That is like a tall elf that's like agile and lives in the woods and the bow, like Legolas. So
This
I don't know
feels
why.
wrong.
I don't know why that is, but they for some reason, and then because they thought of a bunch of other short races they could put in Lord of the Rings, I guess, and I feel like the elves are like, well, we need a tall one, you know, because they put in the dwarves and the hobbits, so they're both short races.
See, I never can get into fantasy because I don't like fantasy because it can never. There's always an escape hatch for its own, like the rules of its own universe, and it really annoys me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I could never get into it.
I just don't understand how there's no sports in this world. Like how, like whether but like that would be fucked up because they would be, if they invented basketball in Lord of the Rings, elves would be good at it because not only are they taller, they're extremely agile, but humans who are like not that much shorter than them can't do flips.
Well, this is sort of the premise of Space Jam.
This is actually exactly the premise of Space Jam, and they did solve that pretty good. All right, well, hey, listen, I want to thank our listeners.
Yes, you know what? Me too. I was going to say that at the end, and then I literally forgot, and I was like, what was I going to say at the end?
I thanked them first.
I do want to thank them because it's insane that we've done 500 episodes of the show, and we wouldn't be able to do that if you guys weren't listening. And I
Yes.
just love doing this show so much with these two dumbos, and it's such a privilege. And I just want to thank you guys for listening, and to 500 more.
I agree.
I want to thank you guys in a different, more sincere way. But I feel like Liz did a good job, so I'll just do that separately in a 1 or 2 hour address that I record and upload on my own on a Patreon that I'm branching off from this one. But that is $1 cheaper. Thank you guys all so much. I know, but I really, and the live shows and stuff, it's nice to see people.
I see everyone, yeah.
See everybody. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice.
It's nice.
It's nice. People are very nice to us. People are very kind to us. And if you aren't, what the fuck's your problem?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, we're nice.
We're not. Well, no, let's not. Let's not make promises we can't keep. But we try to be nice, and we appreciate that most of you are very sweet people. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening.
I'm Liz.
My name is Brace.
And I'm producer Young Chomsky.
And this has been 500 episodes of TrueAnon. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein.